board. There you go.
How's everybody doing? It's all right. Thank you.
Very good.
Putting it all together. So, I do have the documents from last year. I don't know if anybody has been able to take a look at that, the templates that we used last year. So basically, do the same thing, right?
Yep. Just, let everybody know this is the finance committee meeting and
right.
Notice has been duly given.
So this is the 5-year. I don't know which. Do you guys want to start with the one? I think we should start with the 1 year, right? And then just fill in for the 5 years. What do you think? Kind of makes more sense that way.
No, that's fine. If that's the way you want to start, that's fine.
Okay. I did start the 5. Started copying some documents off of the financial statements from last year.
I mean, we I think had a pretty good budget. We've done this a few times, and I mean, projections are as good as we can get. But when we did this last year, I think we spent a lot of time on special circumstances too in our 5 years. So hopefully, hopefully we're not too far off.
Agree. We did.
I'll just add that keep in mind, I think for last year it was like negative 70,000, and that was due to the fact that 70,000 was the projected amount for the grant program.
Right.
And it's in the report that I think the total, I don't know, might be 6,000 or something like that, but definitely not 70,000. So just keep that in mind moving forward, that program doesn't exist when balancing the budget.
And we are finished with that program, right? We shouldn't project anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess we haven't talked about if we're going to continue it. There's no requirement or conversations about.
You can't. It was the emergency status is over by the state, and the program has been terminated.
Right. So this is. So at a glance, right, I'm looking at what we adopted last year for the 21 year, and looking at just the income part of the year to date. It looks like we're actually trending under the projected income. I think we were, if we look in here, the rental so far it's 114.
Can I actually ask a question, Cher? I'm looking at the 5 year. You have this year, which we adopted, and then actual to date. Yeah, our income is less, and I think investment earnings, we need to look at that again. I think some of that was
sorry, remind me which one you're looking at.
Oh, I'm looking at the 5 year where we have this year that was adopted and then actual to date, which is very helpful, that line in there. So our investment earnings is significantly less than we projected, although we made up for it in services. Our rental income is well, but our rental income, I'm assuming we'll get close to that because we're still missing almost the last quarter.
Right.
But our salaries and wages is only $6,000 for the entire year. Is that right?
No, salary and wages is Diana, and then professional services is me.
Okay.
So very much under. And then in grants and donations, it was 8,000. So 8,800.
Okay, and so grants and donations, we won't have, that was primarily for that, for the COVID
Yeah, yep.
project, so. Operating expense.
And then I think we definitely looked at the legal expenses. I think we're right.
Yeah, we were concerned about the various projects we have going
Right.
and what the legal expenses would be attributable to that. Although I can't say that the projection for that is really much less because we're still in the midst. I mean, I think it was less because I think at the time when we did this last year, we thought COVID would kind of be over by this year and things would be moving some more, and they're not as much, or things are moving, but I don't think we've had as much momentum in the courts with the cases that we have legal representation for,
Right.
to have as many legal fees. And again, this is like weather forecasting, trying to figure out if we're gonna be out of it next year, or, you know, what point we're going to have more traction in the courts for legal needs. So I kind of think we should almost keep those numbers at least where they are. And then as far as you sharing, you can, you know, tell us. I know this has sort of been all over the place, but I think at least from the meeting with the board, the hope is that there will be more projects for you, and there will certainly be other projects that are presenting to us, but then other sort of IDA projects that of your design, you know, or of sort of the board's recommendation that can, you know, you can certainly spend more hours. I mean, I would hope that you could spend more hours, or, you know, we have the proposal for the full-time position that, you know, that salary should be in there instead of hourly.
Yeah, the proposal that I made to you all, which I have to send you guys a docket of files for next Monday. What else? So yeah, I mean, between myself and Diana, I don't know what she was in past years. I mean, I think she worked less this year. She didn't come in every Monday. But we can guesstimate the salary that we discussed and what she's done thus far. I mean, 6,000 is exceptionally low, and if she doesn't remain with the IDA, then
right. I think that's part of the consideration. If it's not her, it's going to be somebody else.
It's going to be somebody else, and I mean, I would entertain the thought of like a intern, like a planning intern. You know, that would be up to the board if it's a paid position or a voluntary position. But either way, there should always be somebody else in the office who understands how things work, and it should always be a paid position. And so, yeah, I mean, it doesn't need to be full time, but somewhere in there, it needs to be above 60. I would say that for the following year.
So we should, I think, continue to hold, you know, or whatever values it is that you think are prudent for both of, you know, your position and for her position, whether it's her or somebody else.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say for the record that the like, as you mentioned, that the increase in project submissions has warranted increased hours at the office. And so, I mean, I think 80,000 would be pretty fair to say between the both of us. That's
Okay.
I think a middle point. What else? I think that's pretty much good. Yeah.
I mean, I think in terms of what we're projecting, you know, we have those expenses, which I think that that's a fair number to put in the budget. We right, should be expecting more applications as we have seen, and continue to have more of them, which is a good trend and the direction we want to go. And yeah, I mean, in terms of In terms of sort of other extraordinary things, I think the legal things that we have had on our plate last year are still the legal things we have on our plate next year, and should, you know, keep consideration for that. I guess the only thing is, you know, has anything changed with our rental income, or any of our leases, or any leases coming up, or anything that we should consider that would be different?
So Sprint and T-Mobile have merged. I think there's a point in the expenditure and revenue report where you'll see, I think it stops for Sprint. Those payments are made up with the T-Mobile payments. If you're trying to trace numbers, that's a difference. As well, I think I want to just remind you all also, as far as the attorney fees that we pay for Gemma, we were paying attorney fees for Jacobowitz and Gubitz, who represent us here in New York, and then we were paying the other attorney, I think, in Minnesota. And so I haven't gotten any bills from them anytime soon. I mean, if we're all dealing with it here, essentially those bills shouldn't be coming in, and in that case it would be less. And then what was the other thing I wanted to mention? Oh, so I think it's a good point to mention to you all, if it's not clearly understood, how the IDA makes money. So the IDA makes money. You know, we have the what you can clearly see in the report. You know, we make money with the cell phone tower, and we make money when people apply for benefits. Now, something to take into consideration, which has not passed yet, so I don't know if it's worth it, you guys doing that, but it's possible that you would have to adopt the county's fees. And if you adopt the county's fees, the application fee will be $5,000 and not $1,000. That's how you make money, and you also make money when we close on deals. So the 2-3 projects that we have floating, when those deals close, we will make, I think, 0.5% off of whatever the savings it was that they received. And that's the other that's when you get the huge paycheck. And because we've never had that happen in the time that I've been here, that has never been in the report. And that's why you probably don't have that on your brain, because it just was never a line item for consideration. So if I can't tell you what the closing costs will be in 2022 when those other projects close. I wish I could. I mean, we could have calculated it, I guess, and projected for it, but
Well, so what do we have in the pipeline? We have
you have the Foundry.
We have 104.
104.
You have 104 Washington, and you have 143 Washington.
Yep.
And what about, how far out is Scobie? Still not within this next year.
No, that's a whole DEC matter. So potentially, I think realistically, you could possibly close the Foundry. You could possibly close 104 Washington, and depending on the timeline for the hotel and the whole public process that has yet to be completed, that could also be a potential third closing. You know,
do we close when the contracts are signed, or do we close when the deal, when the project is finished?
My first time, so I would tell you, I would think that it would be when the pilot has been completed, when they finish the deals with their financing, and then they come to us, and we're kind of the last step. But I think, you know, it might be another, I don't know. It'll be over $100,000.
We would have to combine all of the savings for all of the projects you said, right?
Yeah, and you know, I don't know what those numbers are. Those are all very hypothetical at the moment. But I know it'll be.
So what are the consequences if we don't put it in the budget and we realize it? I mean, since those things are hypothetical, since we don't know definitive numbers and we don't know definitive timelines, is there a harm in not putting it in the budget? And if it happens, it does.
I honestly, I don't know.
Well,
You could close
if
on 3
anything,
projects for this year, and you could close on 5 for next year, and you know, like each project is its own animal. You don't know what the tax benefit is and what percentage you're gaining from that. And you know, if we had a trend for the past 3 years, then we would project off that trend. But we're kind of starting from scratch now. So
I would say if there isn't a significant consequence, I'm sure there's a greater consequence to having huge expenses that we don't project versus not projecting income. I would say we should continue to project as we had for the 5 years, to assume that we will have increased applications, but not project that half a point closing fee until we have some sort of precedent or something to kind of understand
Yeah.
once those of us see how it works.
correct that, and the fact that you have not officially passed anything for increased application fee. So as of right now, you can plan for your application fee to be the same. If it changes for next year and you will pass.
I think in our 5-year budget, right, Marlon and Adam, we had projected sort of an increase, a stepped increase throughout the years, sort of assuming we were getting more and more application fees.
that was going to be the amounts right there. We're very conservative, by the way.
Yeah.
But there's no reason to say that we shouldn't be conservative, because these sort of crazy world and whatever events happen that could change the course of these things. I mean, we're very lucky to have Newburgh be popular right now, and for us to be in a real estate cycle such that this is possible, that development is possible. But there are any number of things that can happen, regulatory or changes in, you know, interest rates, changes in
Yeah, I'm definitely
real
okay
estate
with
cycle that can change that. So I'm fine with being conservative with it.
same here. And to just add to what you were talking about with share in regards to whether if we want to account for the potential closing of the pilots, we don't have a yes on any of the pilots. So yeah, so
Okay, I think those are all defensible things. Do we want to go off of what are the information that we know, basically salary information, and sort of stick to the projections that we had made last year and build off of that for an additional year?
I think we did. Do you remember why we added the $25,000 to this? Let me go into the other chart here. Other operating.
In where, which line item?
Yeah, where you
For
looking, Marlon?
oh, that was the closing of Scobie Drive, right? The 25,000
Okay.
that we.
We thought there were going to be the legal fees associated with that closing. Yeah.
That's
You
what it
mean
was.
as an expense or as an income?
That would have been an income. That would be the actual sale of Scobie Drive.
Oh, yes, because that was their purchase. That was their
Mhm.
purchase price. That was the sales price.
So would you?
But Cher, you don't think that that's happening in 2022 even, so maybe we push that to 2023?
In any of the conversations I've had with Bob, I've been given no time frame. You know, it's definitely not happening this year. COVID is completely unpredictable. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with
Then
assuming
just,
that it could close next year. I mean, that is
we could always move it again next
Correct.
year. We could just bounce it.
Well, and some of this is caught up around cleanup related
Right.
approvals and stuff, which has been significantly delayed. Any government agency has been significantly delayed because of COVID. So I'm sure, you know, those delays are out of their hands as well. I don't think it's for a lack of them wanting to construct.
Yeah, it should be moving once the vegetation dies down and they can go in and do the sampling at the wells. That's what's holding it up right now. So I would assume that within the next, I would assume by the November, December board meeting, Bob should have a good update regarding Scobie.
So does everybody feel safe moving it on to 2023? I would say I'm okay with keeping it in 2022, given that, this is something that was looked at for even though slowly throughout the year.
I mean, they're motivated. They want to do
Yeah.
it. If it comes undone, then they will
Right.
close. So, and like Adam says, we can always move it to 2023 if it
Right.
doesn't happen. So
Mhm.
that's fine.
Okay.
So for the interest for this year, for the 2020 year, we were at 2360. As for the 2020 year, now this year hasn't been any glamorous as well. We haven't seen a great return on the interest. So do we want to be conservative and keep it at 3,500?
I think this is one of those things. Yes, we should be conservative until, I mean, interest rates are exceptionally low anyway. And I don't think they're going anywhere really fast. But also because we still need to, I think we need to this year take a look at, where that is, the banks and the loans where it is.
I would actually suggest to moving it down to like $2,000, because when I'm reading the reports, they're in the 160s, 130s. They're pretty low on the returns. So I'd be okay keeping it the same or even lowering it if everybody is okay with that.
Yeah, I think lowering it, because the interest rates aren't going to skyrocket, I don't think, next year. So
Right.
we're not going to see any significantly better returns, even if we do move the money to a different institution. So I agree with
Right.
you. I would lower it.
Any suggestions? I'm thinking, let me look at, let's see, what do we have here? Yeah, we're pretty low. We're year to date 501. And that's still with another quarter left, like you said. So it could even go as lower than that.
Even, yeah, below 1,000, 1,000.
I would, yeah, I would be okay with 1,000.
Even, yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
An even thousand.
Yeah.
So we definitely don't have any state grants. We have to account for municipal subsidies.
Yeah, I don't think we have any upcoming.
Any other non-operating? We don't have anything else for revenue purposes yet. So if anything, we could start moving down to the expenditures. So we mentioned, Sherry, you said that with $80,000, it would be enough to cover the salaries.
I think it's a fair estimate for 2022. 2022, you can see how realistically the other part-time person works, right? Because we're considering salary for me, so that wouldn't change. See how much the other person works, and then for the following year, you'd have a better projection. But I think it's pretty fair, considering the fact that she just, I think she was, she's just missed a couple of days. So that, and ideally, whoever is in that position would also attend board meetings. She doesn't attend board meetings. Whoever would be in that position would attend, and they would also charge for those hours, which would increase salary.
Is she not billing us right now, or is it just
No, she's
because of the
billing.
year?
No, she's
Yeah,
billing.
okay.
She just missed quite a few days, so there might go 2 weeks where I haven't seen her.
Yeah.
Which is or she doesn't, or if she comes, she's not there 8 hours. It might be a 5 hour or 4 hour day, hence the low number.
Mhm. Right. Right. So we're expecting somebody to be a little more involved. So maybe twice. What?
Either longer days and board meetings. I mean, doing board
Right.
doing Zoom is great. This is very easy to record and have you all here. Doing face
Um,
face meetings myself, the whole thing is very nerve wracking. So yeah, I would prefer that whoever's in the office attend all the board meetings.
so how much does she get paid an hour right now?
So you all approved her to make 35 an hour.
This is 3/4.
What do you mean 3/4 time?
Oh no, I'm gonna back into what like our monthly is on this. So we're at 63, 90, and then we have 9 months technically. What am I doing here? 63. Okay, so it's about 2130 on a monthly. No, what am I doing here? So never mind, hold on. 720 hours. That's what it is. 730.
You trying to project it out, Marlon?
So what I just want to get an idea of what we're
So you go,
her on a monthly basis
so you go,
that we could do a year's.
you divide that by 9,
Exactly.
or
$110.
yeah, or you multiply it by 4, divide by 3, then divide by 12.
So right, it's a little bit over 8,500, which is under 10,000, and we're expecting somebody to do maybe what 50% more work.
You said about 20,000, Chair?
I'm saying like about 40. I'm sorry, 40, 14.
14,000.
More or less, you could project 15. But that's where I got the 80 from.
That's where you got the 80 from. Okay. So if you attribute 15 to her.
Yeah, well, it seems like we're headed that way, right? More hands on deck. So
It's, yeah.
and
Yeah.
based
And that's fine, I think, right? I mean,
I would say, given that we're, Cher is going to be doing the full time plus the extra help.
Well, it's 4 days. It's not 5 days.
Oh, that's right.
It's
All
4
right.
days.
Thank you for that correction on that. So, yeah. $80,000 would be a number that I'd be okay with. Does anybody have any suggestions, any thoughts?
no, I agree with you. I think that that's a fair number. I think, we should hopefully get more idea, more precedent once, next year happens, and
Right.
see if we get more applications and, additional projects, and hopefully we'll be a little bit more back to business.
Right.
And see if we get to. But I think that's definitely fair for next year.
Okay. So professional services, we have a few proposals. I would say 60,000 might not be enough, but and then again, we don't have the same activity with attorneys because of the court system. So this is kind of a a question mark for me.
So I think professional services contracts might be me, and I think other operating expenditures might be the attorneys.
It's the attorneys,
I'm
yeah.
not
Well, that's-
sure. We need to double check that.
Yeah, we can look on the other document, right?
Yeah, on the other
It has it
document.
broken up, yeah.
But based on the 80, if we do 15 for the other person, then that would leave 65. Is that right, Cher?
Sorry, say that again. No, it would leave 66.
66.
66 and 14.
Okay.
Okay.
So the total legal fees have been 28,485.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So then in this case, we would, you know what, Cher, I'm looking at this template here. Budget draft template.
We just need to include our storage fees.
Trying to see where she would have included that. That, it's been added either in professional. It's probably in other operating expenditures. Storage or any other consultant that has been needed.
Right. So I'm gonna actually stick to this draft, guys, just because it's a little more detailed.
Which draft?
This one here, the budget draft template.
The 5-year budget?
No, this is just the budget draft template because I was using the 5-year version right now.
The one you would put together last year, the 5-year that we built the 1 year off of.
Right.
Yeah.
I believe actually we did the opposite. I believe we did the regular budget, this one here first. Or I might be confusing that. But this is the 2021 budget draft. And this one is accounting for contract, accounting services, legal services, project expenses, other expenditures. It has the same information as the other one, of course. It's just more detailed. It's just the salary and the wages. So I guess
You're confused because the 1 year has more line items than the 5-year.
right.
Yeah, that's.
Does it have to though when you
So the 5-year needs
submit
to.
it?
The 5-year is exactly what's in Paris. When at the end of the
Okay.
year, when I have to put these things into Paris, that's why these line items meet up. If you wanna, break it out a little bit more, then that's what the 1 year is. Diana has explained to me so many reasons, so many times why the 1 year is different. I can't remember.
Well, I think we should just use the 5-year roll-up so it's easier for you to input. I mean, I don't know that we know enough detail to roll out. Well, maybe we do. There are certain line items, but as long as we know which line items roll into what.
Yeah, yeah, I'm just trying to do some of
Yeah,
that now. And
if
I
I
think it's just a matter of
remember,
backpacking. We could back into it, I'm sure. That's just
yeah, so the right. So here's where what we did last time. So this is other operating expenditures. So 60,000, 60,000. And then we did $35,000, which was the accounting services. So I could definitely keep it this simple, because then it looks like we we did this work for, we really didn't need to do that. So we could definitely keep using this. I have no problem with that. I just wanted to make sure that when we talk about professional services, you said that this included your services, right, Cher?
Professional
Because
services and salaries. I get so confused between what's the lawyer
I'll tell
fee.
you.
I think I think under, am I on mute?
No, I can
Oh,
hear you.
okay. I think, let's see. So salaries and wages, yeah, I'm looking at the 1 year. That would include me. And then the other professional service contracts is 60,000. I think, yeah, I'm kind of in a brain fog right now.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you. This is if I remember correctly. Um, this was what we were considering services from you and Diana. Right here, 50,000 services, salaries and wages, 2022. Tell you, 2022. Okay. 6. Oh, what am I doing here?
I'll be right back.
What is this number here? Hello. Share.
Yep.
Okay. So Yeah, I remember sending this file with this breakdown because I remember we were accounting for the accounting services. We thought about legal services that we've been paying for, also project services. So this condensed version has 60,000 here. What I'm assuming is that, or actually, if I remember correctly, this is the 60,000 for the accounting and legal services. It's not your. It's not for your services.
Well, you also pay for the audit. The audit's usually like what,
Right.
10, 12 grand.
It was we
So
accounted it was for 10,000 and 50,000. And yeah, because what I did, when we sent this separate one, so we built the one on the left first with all the details, and then it was condensed into the 5 year.
okay.
So just if we're up to speed with everything so far, right? The only thing that we have here, just so that everybody maybe remembers, is for the accounting and the legal services, we combined it here, or what when the budget was submitted, it was combined into professional services and contracts. The project expenses and other operating expenses were accounted for here. Now these are both for the 2022 year. Sorry about my dog, by the way. So in here, when we're considering professional services and contracts, we're considering the accounting and the legal services.
So yeah, professional services. So last year, professional services, right, would have been legal and accounting, and then shares would have been in another line item in payroll.
Shares was in salaries and wages.
Salaries and wages, yeah.
Mhm. So share and Diana was in salaries and wages, and professional services and contracts for accounting and legal were in professional services contracts. So are we under the assumption that we're gonna be just as busy as we projected for us to say we're gonna have $60,000 worth of expenses for 2022? And then obviously I would like to have like a line item so that we have this file too. Do we want to say that we're going to spend the same $10,000 for the accounting services?
Yes.
And then are we going to spend about the same for the legal services?
Say our legal, all of our legal fees this year were what, 28,000, almost 30,000.
Mm-hmm.
And our accounting, yeah, if we keep it at 10. So how much should we have in there total? 50?
We had 50, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's still about right.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's fine. And then if we bring up the salaries instead of to what we had it, bring it up to the 80, and just make a note that includes the two. Because we will be entering into a full-time contract where share your position, wasn't a salaried position before that way. So are there other benefits that you are getting through us? Is there any, I mean, once you go to salary, then that turns into
There'll be expenses for like the taxes, and that I won't.
well, payroll taxes, yeah, SUI, FUI, workers' comp, all of that stuff. And then are we paying you any health insurance benefits?
Yeah, we definitely would have other.
Yeah, there as a full-time employee, there are other the tax benefits have to, have to be
Mhm.
considered in that as,
What was the actual offering that you put on the table, share, for the salary?
66.
66,
66?
yeah.
So what would be based on your experience, Chrissy, what would be the
Yeah, I'm trying to think, Joey, let me see if I can pull up one of my other budgets and see if there's like a percentage that, shoot, Elizabeth just left, I can ask her. Um, Let's see.
So what are we, okay, looking at the tax situation?
Mhm.
Well, I think the easiest part is the revenues, right? We could at least have you haven't cemented those yet, right?
Yeah, the actually just one thought. What were your thoughts about the charges for the services? You said that we might be adopting, right, the counties, and you said the minimum for theirs is
5,000, but being that you haven't adopted them yet, and if it's not required, then that's a whole conversation for the board for you to decide if that's something you want to do. Then I think to conservatively say,
right. Last time we left it at 1,500. So given that information, I would keep it at 1,500.
Yeah,
But
that,
what everybody else think?
that's a big leap, going from
um,
15 to 5.
well, so you adopted 15 for 2021, and the actual was about 3,000.
Hmm.
So if you assume you're going to get three, I know you're going to get another application. I don't know if it's going to be in time for the end of this year, but you might have, it might be 4,000 by the end of this year. Will you get another 4 projects next year? I don't know, but let's just say it's 4,000 for this year. You could at least estimate for half of that and assume that it's going to be, or if you just want to keep on trend, I think you'll be at 4,000 by the end of the year, for charges for services.
Well, we definitely. I'm wanna. My thinking is I would want to at least have the bottom be what this year's has been. So if this year we have 3,000, I would say that's our bottom.
Okay.
But if anybody else has any thoughts,
I'm sorry, which line item? I was looking up the payroll taxes.
The very first one, charges for services.
You think we should, so how did we project it? The 5-year projection that we did last year, we did a certain amount of increase every year.
we were very conservative. We said maybe we'll get 1 to 2, maybe even 3 towards the last few years of worth of projects. But given that we didn't really have a whole lot of experience with projects, we started off of a good solid guesstimate, for the lack of better words, right? But my thinking is, if this year we were able to do 3,000, and this is a thought, I would say maybe that's our new bottom. Right? But if anybody has any other thoughts.
I mean, we could project it, because I don't know. There are a few things. Yeah, we could say that that's our bottom. If we don't do as many projects, but we do adopt the county's fee schedule, that will be significantly more. If there are more, which we're hoping for, there are a few other sort of revenue sources that might potentially come in. If we have a one-time fee, if we actually do close on a project next year, our income will be significantly more than what we're projecting anyway. So if we're keeping out at least those 2 factors, we're not factoring in for the 0.5 point basically closing costs, and we're not factoring in the increased fees based on the county schedule, then I would feel comfortable taking, our precedent from this year and making that our base, and seeing what happens next year. We may have to revise if we A, don't adopt it, B, our closing fees are different, or we're closing less, or hopefully we'll have a better idea of actual closing schedules.
Right.
So I would be okay with that. And then to the other point of the, let's see, we have, I'm just going off of one of our actuals. This was from 2020, year-end 2020, but we've got FICA, you've got payroll, which is a sort of a gross payroll expense, and then FICA, SUI, FUI, disability, workers' comp. And we haven't discussed as a board about, any contribution towards insurance, health insurance. But subtracting out health insurance, it's about 14 to 15% of the gross payroll.
Okay.
So, if we're projecting 80,000 of gross payroll, then we should project at least another 12,000 in
That's fair.
in payroll expenses.
Yep. Just
So that would get us
take it up
to about 92.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm okay with that. That's definitely coming from a more experienced position. So, so then that leaves a few other details here. The accounting, we said we're just basically going to keep the same because this is a general expense year over year. Project expense.
Inflation. I don't know if the auditor is going to say it's not 9,000 this year. You also are very much in your right to RFP for auditing services. I think we might be a little bit too late for that right now.
Right.
But that's certainly a conversation that you guys can have year coming. But if you want to assume that it's the same amount, then 9,000.
we should start reaching out to them pretty soon, right?
Yeah, we'll be asking for the engagement letter.
Right. All right. So I would say for the purposes of continuing on how it's been, and maybe they have a sort of good client promotion for us if they do increase their prices. $10,000 is pretty safe, and also I think that's pretty high for that type of service.
They actually were one of the lowest.
Mm.
They were one of the lowest proposals that we received. I wasn't around when they were chosen, but that's what I know.
Yeah, unfortunately for agencies and for anything that has to do with a government agency or government funding, we have only a small number of affordable units, but it's through the USDA. And we have to do a special audit at the end of every year for those units. And that audit is more expensive than a few of our free market tax returns put together. I think we pay, I think it's something like $12,000 or $15,000. It's stupid. So unfortunately to do, it's not necessarily that it's more complicated, but I think that they are able to charge more because they have to sort of verify or put more on the line to verify federal or public funds.
Right. Okay.
So they are pretty expensive. I mean, I agree with you. We discuss this every year too, because it's a really small portion of our portfolio, but it's a really, really high expense to do it, but we're required to because it involves public funds.
Right.
Yeah.
So suggestions would be to keep it the same or
well, I think we should still bid it out. We should still, if we can't this year, then definitely put it on the list for next year to bid it out to see. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they were a lower. I mean, I think as a committee, we have a few things we should undertake this next year.
Right.
Looking at, interest on investments, looking at, doing, just an RFQ for qualifications for an audit, accounting audit, things like that.
We could actually put it out right before the summer break. By the time we come back, maybe we have some responses.
Yep, that's exactly right. Yeah, that should be something that's done in like August, September.
Right. Okay. All right. So back to the legal services.
So you're gonna keep it at 9? Or you're gonna keep it at 10?
10.
Okay.
So the legal services, we said we were pretty much on point, right? We said that I was about 20, almost 30,000, and that's for 10 months. So, but then again, there's a lot of questions about court activity. So, is there anything, Cher, that we have coming up for sure that we have any appointments or anything that we have in the calendar for next year? Anything out that's noteworthy?
That again? Anything what?
Do we have anything that would require for us to actually incur legal expenses that's noteworthy coming up for in the year 2022?
Outside of what we are already doing, no. I mean, with Bob, all of his legal expenses get passed on to the project. And hopefully, if the Gemma matter is resolved,
yeah, that would be the only one.
It would significantly decrease
Okay.
the legal services. So if you want, it's up to you all. Where do you see that going, and how long that's going to be dragged out?
Well,
look at the line items, Jacobowitz and Gubowitz. Sorry, Jacobowitz and Gubitz, and who's the other one? Starts with a white. No. Kennedy and Graven. So once Gemma is completed, there's no Kennedy and Graven, and there's no Jacobowitz.
right.
Okay.
And I don't see a reason.
I don't know that
Well-
we're getting out of that anytime soon.
No, if history is a predictor of the future, we got another at least a year of this.
Mhm.
Okay.
I would err on the side of conservativeness with our expenses and keep as many
That's right.
possible ones in there until we have better
Mhm.
ideas.
I agree.
Yeah,
That's right.
because also, I don't know what the sidewalks are going to cost,
Oh yeah.
but that's a huge one. I
Yeah.
have no idea what the sidewalks are going to cost.
Yeah, I know. That's the one that gives me pause too. There seems to be a lot of residual activity on the sidewalks. So.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, and that could be a serious bill. I mean, that could
Yeah.
be a huge bill.
That one goes
Um,
sideways. That's a big bill. Yep.
Mhm. So,
Mm. Well, we're pretty much close to what we
where
got
we were.
this year. So, given that we might have the same plus the potential
Right.
increase with the sidewalk, that means that we might have to go up.
Yeah. So we would. Okay.
How much do we want to estimate for the sidewalk? I mean, we could be looking at a huge bill, but, I mean, at least the engineering fees. I mean, I think we should put in there at least 40,000, because the engineering fees alone, if we go that route, we're, almost half of that.
So you all
That
kind
would
of,
be.
Mhm.
Would that be under that? Would that come under legal services?
Yeah.
No.
that should be other, that's,
Other,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
But
Got
you
it.
all are going the direction of not
Yeah.
keeping an engineer, and
I think. Well, we could probably, based on what we were just saying, we see the actual legal. We should probably project the rest of the year, and then probably increase it by a factor, because we it sounds like we all anticipate more activity.
Mhm.
I mean, it could be 15% higher or something like that, or 20%.
for legal, you're saying, or for the
For
sidewalk?
for
For
legal expenses. Then, as a separate line item, if there's expenses that are related to, I don't know, other consultants, we
So
have
the
them there.
sidewalks in general, I mean, if we don't do the engineer, I mean, I still think we're gonna be looking at least
Yeah,
20,000,
I think you're right.
30,000 just
Yeah,
for the
that's without the
construction.
engineer.
Yeah,
And then that goes
so
up if we do the engineer.
yeah, if we do the engineer, it could be more. I mean, it could even be more than that, but I mean, it's just a total spitball guess, but I would say to keep somewhere between $30,000 and $40,000 in there in another line and just market, sidewalks to see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So I was counting it over here as other operating expenses. You said about 30 to 40.
Say that again, Marlon. I'm sorry.
Other,
Sorry, I was putting my hand in front of my mouth. So, Chrissy, you said $30,000 to $40,000 would sound about right.
I don't know, do you guys, I mean, we're
I
at
would
a
say
point
so.
where we only have estimates for the
Yeah.
engineering work.
Right.
We don't have actual contractor estimates, but if we don't go the engineering route and we just get a contractor, I mean, I think it could be less and it maybe should be less based on what's there, but knowing sort of how these things
then.
work with municipal sort of
Right.
projects, at least 30.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree as that item, and then we need to maybe bump up the legal fees a little bit too.
So what I've done so far is I'm accounting for the 30,000
Yep.
other operating expenses.
Okay.
Okay.
And then we're gonna bump up the legal, of course, but I'm gonna say another $25,000.
What are we at right
For
now?
what?
We're at 50 for legal.
No, I don't think that much.
15.
75.
I would say as
Well, we're at.
5,000 for legal.
What are we at? What are we running at
We're
now?
doing-
We have actual is
28.
28.
Mhm.
And so that's 3/4, right?
Right.
So that'd
Well, we
be,
had in legal, didn't we have legal and accounting? So we were at 28 and then another 10 for accounting. So
Are you
we were at
able
like
to see? Are you able to
40.
see my display?
I don't know if-
we can't see your display now.
no,
Really?
I'm looking at the document. It looks like legal is
Can
just
you
a sum
can you make
total of,
my display shareable? Share.
She just, she said she just stepped out for a second.
okay.
Ah, maybe
So I
that's
think
why.
the
Okay.
legal fees are the sum of Whiteman, Osterman, Kennedy, Graven, and
Right.
Jacobowitz. I don't think
Right.
there's an accountant in there.
No, so
No, but the legal fees total, right, are 28,000.
28/4.
right.
Yeah, and then, so the line item that we had there was legal and other services, I think. So we had the 28,000 plus the 10,000 for accountants. So that's 30, we were at 40,000 and we're carrying about 50 to be, to be safe.
Right.
But if we want to bump it, I think 75, if we want to include professional services,
Right.
if you're concerned about legal and accounting, even if you want to include engineering in there potentially as a professional service, I think that should cover it for
Okay.
next year,
75,000.
right? You think, I mean, that's,
Yeah,
I
no,
would
that-
say
that-
that's
that
legal,
seems right.
accounting and other professional
Yeah,
services.
because we're at 28/4 plus 9 for the accountant. That's 37. Finish the year, that brings it up into over 40, and then you're putting in another, yeah. Okay,
So just real quick, I'm gonna do the breakdown as it is on the sheet. For this.
okay,
So far, we have the 80,000 for salaries will be shared plus 1.
right,
Mhm.
we covered that.
We have separate line item for just accounting services, 10,000. For professional services, contracts, legal, and engineering, I combine engineering with the legal.
Okay,
Okay,
Correct me if I heard wrong. 50 plus 15,000, so 65,000.
sure, that sounds right, because you're carrying the additional 10 for accounting and another line.
Right.
Yep,
Exactly.
that's great.
and is it okay to, I don't know the answer to this, but is it okay to roll engineering into legal?
Well, it's considered professional services, right?
Right.
That line item.
Right.
It's just a general, okay, then, yeah, I
Right.
agree.
And then
One thing about your payroll, I don't know if you have a separate line item for payroll taxes, but that should
So-
be, I don't know if you want to include that in payroll, if you want to put it in as a separate tax line, but that should be another 12.
I could do that. That's not a problem. So because it's gonna be a new line item for us, right? We haven't had that, so I'm gonna add it. But we said that was gonna be 12,000, and then for other expenditures, and I'm gonna do a little parentheses on this. This is for the actual work on sidewalks. So this is
Yeah.
what item would we?
Well, so if it's just the actual construction of the sidewalk and it doesn't include the engineer,
Yeah.
yeah, what do you say? Still 30, 20 or 30? What do you think, Adam?
Hmm.
20 or 30, yeah, for the construction.
Difference for the construction.
Oh, you're muted.
Sorry, no,
That's
yeah,
okay.
I was gonna say, I didn't see why it would be higher than 30, right?
You thinking that's including the engineering or without the engineering?
Without the engineering,
Okay,
that
Yep,
would be an
I
additional
agree.
10, I think, right?
I agree. Yeah, she's got the engineering lumped in together with the professional services with the
Legal.
legal. So yeah,
Okay.
just construction wise, yeah, I don't think it should be. I mean, I would hope it wouldn't be more than 20, honestly.
Yeah, me too.
So
Real quick, just all right. So we already know that the legal and the engineer is compiled together for 65. The accounting is 10. The other operating expenditures, which will include the taxes, I'm gonna make that a separate line item actually, just because we haven't had that in the past, and that way and at the end of the day, this is gonna be combined when
yeah, it all gets rolled up into.
Right, but I I think this is better for us because then we go line by line, right?
Hmm. Yeah, and if we keep notations so that we know next
Exactly.
year when we get to this, what we lumped into professional services.
That's right. Yeah. We
Exactly.
definitely have to do that.
And sidewalks, because,
You said
who knows, it may get done early in the year and then we'll totally forget about the sidewalks when it comes to this time next year.
That's right.
Mhm.
What were we doing?
Yeah, what were we doing? What was
Right,
costing
yeah.
$30,000?
Sidewalks? Who's sidewalks?
employment taxes, we said, right?
Payroll taxes, yeah.
Payroll taxes. That's what Alright, so I have the line item for payroll taxes, other expenditures. So now we have a new line item, payroll taxes,
Okay.
and other operating expenses, which includes the likes of sidewalks. What else here? Okay, so then does everybody feels comfortable with these amounts so far? Because we just have one more to address.
Yep.
So the next one is project expenses, and this is the stuff that we take on anytime a project comes on. So
Now we had project expenses in there last year, right? Assuming that we were potentially going to do other things, which
Right.
we didn't do, but I think we should still keep in there as an optimistic plan to do if we can.
right. So we kept it at 20,000. That's what we accounted for last time. So
Okay.
I'm okay keeping that as well.
Yep.
So just so you know, we would be at a deficit of
Yeah.
$38.
How much?
$38,000. And
Okay.
the saving grace here, I mean, I would say where we're pulling a lot of what we're considering is sidewalk. That right there is a good chunk of money. We would be positive just on the sidewalk work alone.
The sidewalk and the fees, any sort of exceptional legal fees,
Right.
or engineering fees, any professional fees.
Exactly. Just in that project alone,
Yeah.
would be breaking pretty much even. Yeah, so we would be.
Yeah.
So, and that's also considering the fact that, actually you brought it up, the engineering. So it is. So, biggest changes so far. Sherry, can you make my screen? Oh, man, I could do it here. Oh, wait, no. Can you let me share the
Yeah, go
screen?
ahead, try again.
Where?
So I guess when we discuss this with the board, I mean, we just talk about the two sort of income items that we have left out, which are sizable, which would make up the difference for this.
Right.
And that this is the sidewalks are sort of a one-time thing.
Right.
That we don't really know at this point how much they'll cost, but we're keeping what we believe conservative numbers in there. I mean, we essentially almost have $45,000 in there for it. If we consider almost 15,000 of that was engineering fees, and then another 30. I mean, we can reduce the 30 if you want to 20. I think between the 15 and the 20, it's possible. Of course it's possible.
I'm gonna break it down a little further here for us for next year. Okay. So you were saying reduce it to what?
You want to reduce it to 20, or you want to keep it at 30? What do you think, Adam?
I would rather have it at 30.
Yeah. Okay. I'm fine with that. I mean, I'm fine with that. Either way, it's a
Me too.
deficit, and we
I'm
just
fine
have
with
to
it.
explain it to the board that,
Mhm.
I mean, it was the same thing as last year. We had a huge amount in there for the grant that we didn't end up, providing all of, and so we weren't in a deficit, but it was a possibility. I mean, this is
Right.
a possibility.
Right, and that was because of the grant. You're right. Okay, so
Okay.
I think we did a good job going over these details. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm obviously going to condense it here for the expenses, and then I will send it over to you, Share. But we will have to discuss for the 5-year, right?
That's easier.
Um,
Going out.
we need to discuss year.
If you look at where we were though in the past, I mean, we know about what the exceptional sort of things are this year. We could of course have exceptional things every year, but we don't really necessarily know. I think, where we had been estimating, is very similar,
Mhm.
sort of on a generalized basis, make sure that the salaries, are trending appropriately. And our new payroll taxes line.
I'm gonna have to include that line item there, so that's equal. And we said we were gonna do 25. 3,000. I'm just gonna do it right now so I can send it to you tonight, share.
Okay.
80. So this accounts for equals plus 50,000 plus 15,000. Okay, and that's what am I doing here? 179, 179, 80, and this is, what am I doing here different? 80. Okay. What happened here? Doesn't matter. I'll fix it. So, and then this one is why is this one? Why is this cell so odd? Hold on a second. Okay. 217. That's that total. No, sorry. Where did this one come from? 154. Where's this one coming from here?
I don't know that I can see which cell you're on. We're sort of stuck
Yeah.
on.
Same here. It's kind of stuck.
Oh, okay. Hold on a second.
We're stuck on the 1 year page.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Oh, good. It's not just me.
Mhm.
Maybe I'm having an internet problem.
It's possible. We're lucky we have internet right now.
Can you see this?
Ah, yes, very much so.
There we
I don't know.
go. Yep.
I don't know what happened to my cells here. I'm just gonna try and fix it.
Were we increasing it by a certain percent? It looks like that's trending.
Yeah, that's what we did. It looks that way anyways.
Yep. Looks like there's some sort of trend factor we came up with.
Oh, wait, this was rent. No, never mind. Other non-operating expenditures. This is the sum. Oh, hold on, guys. This is adding it all. This should be the sum of. I don't know what's up with this cell. These numbers are off.
Well, you can always just write it on if you determine what they are, and you can just
Right.
write them on the paper and scan
Yeah,
them.
well,
I can
it
take
should
them.
match this number here.
Do you want to, what number?
It should
Which one?
match this number here. So this is the total expenditures,
Total expenditures is
217.
217.
And then the total revenue is 179, but the cells are just formatted odd, and it looks, for whatever reason, non-operating. I don't know where this came from. So this here should be, where's this one added? Should be like this. There it is. Okay. All right. So I don't know what's going on here. All right. So now it's matching the numbers.
Okay.
But I don't remember why we were actually, where did we get this non-operating? This is maybe something I might have actually accidentally changed. Yeah. %, 50,000. Okay. All right. So, but my numbers match right now. So we are at a 38% deficit, $38,000 deficit. I'll clean it up for you, Cher. Yeah, I'll clean it up so that it does match up, like it should be matching up. I'm not sure what's going on here. I don't even know why this is here. Why we would not other non we don't have any other non-operating expenses adding to $150,000, right, guys?
Well,
I can't. I don't think.
I mean, it clearly looks like it was put there deliberately. I mean, we even went so far as to trend it, it looks like.
Yeah, how much is it trending by? Was
think
it
it's
maybe just an
3%.
error that it picked up the total revenue line from above?
I think it did that.
Okay.
Let me look at the original cell here. I don't see this. That's why it doesn't add up.
Okay.
Oh, it's hard coded, so it's not,
It's not a formula, yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say, does it look like it's coming from somewhere else? To any of those other ones, if you click in them, can you see where they're coming from? Or are they all hard coded?
I am gonna click on.
Oh, just click on, say, the 168 or something.
Yeah, P37 or whatever, yeah. There you go.
Yeah, right there.
See, it's a formula. It's trending up 3%.
Yeah, say okay, and just click on that formula again, click on 168. It came from somewhere. What is that, N37?
Yep, so N37 is it's just the prior year, it looks like.
Trending the prior year.
It goes back to H. It looks like if you click on
3%.
J37, it probably says H.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess that 3%, that's gotta have something. I bet you that's coming from 11. Rental and financing income, we probably assumed that was going to increase by at least inflation.
Right.
So that 150 that we have every year in row 11 really should be what that formula is. Should really be trending up at least 3% every year by inflation. That was, I think it was just put in there by accident.
Yeah,
So
it should have been here.
We think that that means the values in row 37 at the bottom should be 0, is what we're saying? And then we should just trend the values in row 11.
Well, it's an expenditure line, so it shouldn't.
Yeah, so we can just take it out, just erase those ones. I think they're probably 0 because we don't have other non-operating expenditures.
Yeah.
Just take that formula And
Yeah, if we
apply
think
it to
it's a
them.
mistake, then yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
For sure, it just threw me off right now. All right, hold on, guys. What am I doing here? General.
You went away from the fancy accounting formatting.
Currency. Just to match it. All right. So what grants and donations? I don't know what that was about.
That's that's actual, right? That's the money related to the equipment, isn't it?
Adopted for last year.
Oh, that's adopted for last year?
Did we receive any grants and donations?
No, but
No.
it's coming up as an expense.
The grant is,
Oh,
the
okay.
grant should have been considered the PPE.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the numbers match up here. We're back to square one. I'll fix this. I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is doing, but I'll clean it up. Okay. And this one, 35. Where's this 3501? Why are these numbers like that? That's just, so I must have to the cells, but we don't have anything extra here. It's just this item is none.
There you go.
Okay. All right. Okay, so now it looks a lot better.
There you go. That does.
Okay. And so we got all of the expenses here. Everything's accounted for, 35. So the only last few things that we want to address is our 5-year and 1, 2, 3, 4. 5-year, including next year. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got it.
Okay, so yeah, I think we should take row 11 there, that 150. Yep, and the
Yep, we said
2021
trend it up.
attribute the at least 3% increase per year.
Okay.
Yeah, so just do equals. Just do
Yeah.
equals H11.
Yeah, you can erase the 150.
Yeah, erase that. Just do equals H11 times 1.03.
Yeah. There you
Do
go.
that. And then cell L, just reference the prior one, equals, and then
You can
click on
actually just
J11.
copy J, and
Oh, yeah.
it should
Yep,
reference the
copy,
prior
yeah.
one too. It should.
Yep.
Just roll it.
Just take that.
Oh, no, just exit. Yeah, there you go. Now copy it.
Yeah,
and
click on that one and copy it.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can
Perfect.
take, the in-between ones out.
I think when you're done with this, you might
I
want to
know.
just save it as a PDF. When you're done with this, just in case some of the numbers change when we finish this, just save it as a PDF for me. That way, the cells
We
aren't
have a
100%
static
changed.
version.
Yeah, exactly.
This feature.
Yep, or just even just save a backup file, even in Excel.
Yeah.
Just
All
call
right.
it, rename it with backup at the end or something.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're not done, so I guess I'll save it as a PDF when we're done. All right. So then the next line item is for the revenues purposes, interest rates. What do we expect? And we said it was going to be 1,000.
Well, what if we anticipated 3,500? I would keep the 1,000 Oh, these are services. These are those aren't interest rates, the column
Oh.
you were just in.
That's right.
Yeah, that one, 1,000, I don't know, I would keep it 1,000 for 2023.
Yeah, same here.
Same here.
And then 2024, maybe 2,000 or maybe 1,500.
Yeah.
What,
Yeah,
1,500,
15, yeah.
1,500, and then 1,500 and maybe 2,000 for 2026.
Yep, a nice slow
Yeah,
increase.
slow.
Great.
I mean, we all hope that that's not really the case, but
Yeah, well,
well, I mean, on one
we'll
hand,
happily
maybe, on the other
revamp
hand,
this
maybe
next year
not.
when we spend some time on looking at that this year.
Yeah.
Out for
We were gonna do
salary.
it this year, but we didn't get to it. This coming.
So do you want to trend that the same way? Yeah, that should at least be going up by CPI.
Which is
1.01, what's CPI?
Yeah, well, I would say 1.03 at least, right? I mean, we have to talk to the board about this. I don't know that we can unanimously decide on.
Oh, yeah.
this,
They
but,
may.
I
they
mean,
may not approve it.
think we should keep up with.
no, we're gonna keep
inflation.
we're gonna keep everybody in the same for perpetuity.
I gotta keep up with inflation at the least.
All right. And professional services. So
I mean, I don't know what kind of intel we have to tinker with that.
it'll be the same considerations, right? But do we want to generalize and just say the professional services are accounting, legal, and engineering? So we might.
Well, yeah, it's just professional services in general. So if you flip back to the 5-year, I mean, if we thought that that was underestimated, the professional services really should. Can you flip back to the 5-year so we can see what the category name is?
I think if I'm in professional services, you would be taking
No.
me out.
No,
not.
it's
Okay.
not. What do we call it? Excuse me, Stormy.
Can you see the
Professional
screen?
services, yes, well, other
But there-
employee benefits. So professional service contracts, I mean, that could include,
That's the 70,000, by the way. 70.
yeah, so I would say maybe we want to put it at 50,000 for the other years.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other employee benefits could be, that could be taxes, payroll taxes, and if we include health insurance after we talk to the board.
Yeah,
Are you sure I'm not in that? Because if you look at the 5-year draft, under actual, I match. It's 21,583 for actual 2021, and that's me. Under
Professional, so we
Under
had
the-
professional, we had you under, well, because you were a professional service contract, you weren't an
Correct.
employee,
But
but
she
going
was-
forward, you'll be an employee. You won't be a
but she was-
contractor.
exactly. So she would also account it. So if we're just gonna be talking about professional services, this is like legal, accounting, engineering.
Yep,
So we're probably, hopefully, not gonna be dealing with engineering,
yeah.
and maybe
the
account
lawyer's fee.
the $50,000 would.
Well, you want to keep it at 35? I mean, I'm okay with that. And as one-time things come up, then we'll just have to add them in. We just won't
That's
know
right.
about one-time things in a
Right.
5-year budget. So I'm
That's
okay
right.
with leaving it there if you want to.
Yeah.
So for 2022, you're saying it's going to be 75. Is that include like why the drop? Because
75 includes the 10 for accounting, the 65 for professional services, which we're putting as legal and engineering. So
Right.
10 for accounting, 15 for engineering, and the remainder for legal, right?
Right.
but you don't need engineering because you guys aren't going that route.
Well, we don't know that yet.
Okay.
We're just
Right.
being conservative about it.
Okay.
We hope we don't, but just in case we do.
Right. So I'm okay leaving it at 35, and
Yep.
even I'm okay with that, since we'll have a better idea of what 2023 will look like for this time next year. So
Okay.
Right.
Other operating expenditures.
that would
This was
include-
just our general line.
This is this one here. This would be now including taxes now, payroll taxes.
Well, payroll taxes, I think, should go in line 26, other employee benefits. Because payroll taxes and health insurance generally go together as sort of, even though it's not a benefit, it's, I mean, we can put it in other expenditures, but it's really technically, or we don't put it in another line and we roll it up into the salary and wages, because it generally, payroll taxes kind of go along with salary stuff.
I would rather roll it into salary and wages.
Okay. So then just keep that line and then add, you know, I would say you can add maybe just an even 15%
Okay.
on top of that. So, and that would include, so
Right, we said
proposed 2022,
92.
if you go into the 80,000, the salmon color 80,000.
Yep,
You see the screen?
J25,
Yep.
just increase that. It'll be equals 80,000 times 1.15.
Yeah.
I can't see that you're in that cell though.
Go to J25.
J25?
Is it frozen again?
Yeah.
I don't see your mouse at all moving.
Right, these might be frozen.
Yeah. Can you hear me though?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm definitely. So hold on a second, guys. So for the salaries and wages, you said we agreed it was going to be 80,000, right?
Yeah, the 80,000
Well, we're
is
gonna
the
increase it.
14,000 for Diana and the 66 for Cher,
Right.
which comes out
Now-
to the 80. And then if you want to include payroll taxes in that same line item, if you don't want to link it to the year, just go into that 80,000, the salmon colored 80,000 you have there.
Yep.
Go into that cell.
so it's still J25.
I understand what you guys are telling me. I just didn't understand if you wanted me to actually add it on the same line as salaries and wages.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's what we're doing. We're taking the existing projected salary that we have for the 2 employees, and we're increasing it by 15% to
No,
account
I
for
understand
benefits.
that. But what I'm saying is put it in the same line item, right?
Right,
Yeah,
that's what you said
because
you
then
wanted, right?
otherwise, the only other option is if you wanted to put it in other employee benefits. I
Okay.
wouldn't put it in other operating expenditures because that's another category. I think that's other stuff. You kind of
No,
want to
I'm
keep
okay with
payroll taxes with salary stuff.
I'm okay with that. That works for me. All right, so that's $92,000 for salaries and wages.
Yep.
Cool. All right, so then I'm gonna change that on the other one. Reflect that. So it's 92,000. Okay.
Perfect. There we go.
All right. So then, where were we? 60
Okay.
expenses.
And then other operating expenditures.
I'm gonna reduce it by 12,000.
Yeah.
Boom. Okay. So then now we're back to the same. No, why are we getting a different number?
Yeah, I think that's right. Right? You said we were.
Yeah, it was
217.
217.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh no, the numbers don't matter. Maybe 3,000 charges. $3,000. Oh, okay. So actually, we're gonna start this year. It's gonna be the year after. Okay, so we should be good now. Yeah. All right. So now we're good now. Okay. So the I changed the 150,000 because on the number that we were working, we said that 2020 would be 150,000. Or do we want to increase? We said we wanted to increase it by 3%, right? The rent-
Yeah, so our actual for 2020 was 152. What was our actual for this? What are we at currently this year?
Give me a second. All right, so then we're gonna be. Now we're gonna be even. All right, now we're good. Okay. We're good, guys. Just making sure that we're adding up here. We're matching up. Okay, we're matching up. All right, so I just want to, on the one we had work originally, I had not accounted for the 3% increase. Now we're good. We're matching. We can keep moving along.
Okay.
The numbers are good. So the question so far would be for I think for 2023, we were at other operating expenses, which include like project expenses, which include like the sidewalk. So for 2023,
Well, the other expenses is just that additional 20,000, which I think is just a buffer, is just an amount. We have a specific line item for 2022 of the sidewalks, but we won't know what other specific items will be in forward years. So I think that's a safe buffer just to leave it as is.
okay. All right. So then, so far we've projected an increase on the revenue. We projected an increase on, well, a light increase on the revenue for applications, a very conservative increase, light increase on the interest, and we projected an increase of 3% year over year for the salaries. We then said for the professional services and contract, which does not include share, it's just legals and engineering and all that. We said for 2023 and onward, 35,000. And then do we feel comfortable keeping the numbers the same?
Yeah, because I think
Yeah.
we have legal in there for, Gemma and for other things that we can project will probably last the next 2 years, which is fine. But then after that, theoretically, we shouldn't have those things as significantly.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that
We'll have a better line of sight next year too. Those are a few years out, so.
right?
Yep.
So that pretty much covers it all, guys.
Wonderful.
Hey,
Ladies
I
and
agree.
nice,
I concur.
nice job, folks.
All right. So, Cher, I'm gonna send you one of these as PDFs, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll send them to you.
Sure, we'll have to talk on the phone again after this.
I mean, if you want to send it if you want to send a version in Excel to all of us, and then if you want to PDF
Absolutely.
it, that's fine. But
Yeah,
the
I'll
version
send it
you
to
send to
file.
us will be static. So
Right.
we'll at least have,
Yep, that'd be
Yep.
good. We all have this kind of
yeah.
working version.
Perfect. All right, I don't have any other questions. Does anybody else have any other questions? Cher, do I need to actually say something specific to close this out?
Well, you guys didn't
We gotta make
have to do the 1-year budget today, but you.
Well, we did it.
I mean,
We did, yeah.
so yeah, just the way it's lined out in the other format in the file I've sent you. So
if you send me, because I don't know, I don't know what you're talking about because
so the attachment in the email that shows it's the first page of the income and expense report. It's the first page. So that's broken down a little bit differently. If you can fill that in based on what you put in the 5-year, if you have all those line items and you know how you broke it out, then that's fine.
Yeah, no, I can definitely break it.
Do you see the document?
What is it called again?
Budget files 2021.
Budget file.
From the email. Like it's the email you should be looking at that has all of the income and expense reports, like what the attorney's fees are, what the cell phone tower brings in, all that. The first page.
It's the October 4th email, right, Jen? There are two
October
attachments.
4th, yeah, October 4th.
I have two PDFs on that one.
So it should be the one that says budget files.
Right. Okay. So let's see. Budget files. Okay.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So I see what you're saying. Oh yeah. I
So
can.
this page has to be presented as the 1-year budget. So
So it's just, is it just a format issue then?
yeah, this has extra line items. It should have extra line items, or it's condensed. They're just not exactly the same. But if
Well,
so, just this page alone, right? Do you have the blank document,
no,
well,
Word
let
document?
me, can I ask a question before we go further? So that document, well, we kind of stepped through this already, right?
Mhm.
And the difference being that this is a little more broken out, like stuff rolls to a subtotal essentially, and those subtotals roll to a bigger line item, and that's what we're doing in the Excel file, a larger line item. Are you saying that we have to break out what we think, for example, hypothetically, Kennedy and Graven is going to be over the next year?
no.
Is that-
Like, let me see. So charges for services, that's the same. Rental and finance.
Is there a reason? Is this a standard format that we have to present?
There's a standard that you present the 1 year and it passes, and it's actually not due. I think it's due a little bit later, but it's kind of like, why would we do one and not the other? And
So
this is just the format that's always been used.
Share. So this is a Word document, and
Mhm.
do we have the blanks so I can just fill it in? Because I could quickly fill this in. It just has to.
Yeah, and we don't have to, I don't think we have to break out specifically which lawyers or how many hours. We just say
that's what I'm
legal and
driving at,
legal and
yeah.
other.
No,
Feels,
this would
It's
be
just
pretty,
a formatting issue.
Exactly,
Yeah.
it's just a formatting. So if you could now, because I could replicate this, but it won't be the exact same thing. You know what I mean? It won't look like this.
Well, I think it's fine. I mean, if we presented last year in the Excel format.
Yeah.
They got both last year, so we must have filled this in for you, I guess. But I just want to make sure then, because I'm going through the files right now. I'm trying to see like how this document is created.
Because maybe it is that you put it in something and then it.
No, I got it. Marlin, attach file, annual. All right. Receive it right now.
So this is the document.
I'm trying to see what is different that if I had a question, I would have to ask you.
Where is it? Oh, okay. Yeah, I can fill this out.
you sharing something else, Marlon? Because you're still on the 5-year Excel that we see.
I'll show you real quick. Where's my document? Do you see this?
I guess
There it
it's
is.
the same. I
Yeah.
guess it's not really a problem.
Oh yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Pull it.
This
from
looks
there.
Yeah,
right.
you can
Yep.
just pull it.
Just plop it in there. That's all.
So yeah, if you can just
But
send me
if you have any questions, call me.
Yeah, I'm gonna work on this tomorrow.
Okay.
But if you guys agree on all these numbers, then
It
just
makes it
formally vote, I guess, to recommend this to the board. And then I'll send over, I guess, to you all as a committee the numbers as well as the rest of the board, so that they have time to review it by Monday.
Right.
The numbers.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. I vote that we recommend what we just worked on to the rest of the board.
I second.
Great.
Do you agree, Marlon?
Yes.
Okay.
Wonderful.
No objection.
No
All right.
objection. All right.
Yay.
Yeah, anything comes up, share whatever, you can feel free to email the Orla or the group,
Yeah.
and I'll try my best to get back to you. Knowing they're looking at it.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks.
Great. So the
Have a
meeting,
good night.
Meeting is adjourned.
yes, okay.
Everybody good? Okay.
Yep.
Thank
right.
you, guys.
Good night,
Thank
everyone.
See
you
you
all.
next week.
Good meeting, guys. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.